Got a problem this morning. Well, it was like a week ago or something like that. My Irrigreen sprinkler started just blowing water out of the ground for no reason whatsoever. So I had to dig it up. And this is what I found. So I actually dug up chunks of grass very precisely so that I can put them back later after fixing the problem. But take a look at this. The flex pipe down there, see this? Got a little clamp on it. This thing was on there and then it was clamped on tight. But the nature of Irrigreen is that the water hose, or like the pipes and everything, is pressurized at all time because the valve is actually inside the sprinkler head. So this is not supposed to come off, but for whatever reason, it did. It separated, and water, just started shooting out underground, and eventually it bubbled up. So I got all this sand and things that was in the ground that came up and kind of caked on top. So I called Irrigreen up, and they sent me new pipes. So they have started manufacturing these pipes because they give you this, and they say you're supposed to use this and not do it yourself. But the pipes that they used to make, I don't know, a long time ago, had one of these little clamps on it to hold it onto here. And they told me that they have been manufacturing these pipes a little bit differently, and they sent me new ones. Of course, they apologized for this problem. They sent me new ones. Let me show you what they look like. It's the new pipe. All right. After being silly with the neighbor, here's the new pipe. So you see this? That goes right there. So down here, you've only got one metal band holding it, and now we have two. And the same thing goes for that side. It used to be one, and now it's two. So conceivably, it should be tighter and shouldn't pop off. I don't know, time will tell. They sent me multiple pipes, so if I want to, I can go back to my main yard and dig up the flex pipe on my main yard, which has not started leaking. So I don't think I'm going to do that right now. Maybe I will. I don't think I'm going to do that right now because I just don't want to dig in the ground for something that's not leaking. So if it starts leaking, I got an extra pipe to swap it out. Anyway, I thought anyone looking for Irrigreen would be interested in that. Got this manufacturing date. I don't know when they started manufacturing it with two bands on, but if your date is after 8/23/22, you probably have two bands, and that you're fixing the problem.
What do I do?
Yeah, you just switch the hoses out. Switch the pipe out. See, it's got all the dirt down there. Yeah, just take it out. Yeah, you might need a tool, huh? Yeah. Do you always wear that helmet? No. All right. These flex pipes are threaded on either end. I got little blue caps on them right now. But when you put it down, if you've got a fixed area here, this doesn't turn because it's in the ground. And I can't turn this because there's a wire attached to it also in the ground. So I could basically thread this onto one side, stick it in, but then I can't thread the other. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut the pipe. This goes to show you why when you have to do things like this, you got to leave a little bit of gap because every now and then you're going to have some sort of issue where you're going to come in and make a repair. So I got to cut it right here and then put a new one of these on the pipe and then slide it in. That's just, I don't know, it's just the annoying thing. I got to fix that. All right, for the Irrigreen, you're going to have this 1-inch PVC slip pipe, and that's going to slide onto there, so long as you've got your PVC cement priming stuff. But notice, see, actually, you couldn't really see it on this one, in this old one, because I didn't put very much on. I should have. But here you can see the Teflon tape in there. To do a proper Teflon tape job on a high or a fully pressurized pipe to threaded connection, you need to have like a solid 10 to 12 wraps of Teflon on the threads. So I wish I would have filmed it, but I did about 4 wraps all the way around, and then I broke my tape and I pressed the tape as much as I possibly could into the threads. And then I wrapped another, something like 7 more wraps that I did all the way around. So combined, it's somewhere in the vicinity of 10 to 12 wraps all the way around. So that makes a very tight seal. So I actually needed to use a wrench to hold this while I tighten this. I hand tighten this on as hard as I possibly could to get it all the way in there. You got to go through that length to make sure that you don't get a leak. I mean, if this thing is sitting at 50 PSI, 100% of the time, take every measure you possibly can to get each connection perfect. Now, you don't put Teflon tape on this connection. So I'm going to take this old one off and I'm going to put that one on. The reason you don't is because in here is one of those rubberized O-rings. And the O-ring, once you tighten this all the way down, the O-ring compresses, and that's what gives you the watertight seal. So if you put Teflon tape on it, it has the potential of compromising the O-ring. It's just not best practice. Because there's the O-ring in there, you don't put the Teflon tape on in this high-pressure scenario because it's redundant, not necessary, even though it's plastic on plastic or PVC on PVC or whatever it is. There, I just took it off. And you can see inside there's that O-ring. You basically need to thread that on all the way until it fully compresses on that O-ring. That's what makes that watertight seal. In my case, the pipe slipped off of that, and that's why mine started leaking. This one hopefully won't have that problem. Knock on wood. All right, so once you thread it on and it gets tight, that is not done. You literally have to muscle it until it's all the way up there to make sure that that O-ring is fully compressed. That's the only way to get a watertight seal. There we go. That's all the way. Looks pretty good. Now I just need to get my PVC primer and cement and stick that together. You don't want to pressurize it for at least a couple hours once it's put together. But that's just a slip, so I could just slide it straight on, hold it there, and then wait. Whenever you put the PVC on, you have to hold the pipe
Yeah.
for at least 20 to 30 seconds, because if you let go,
I will slide off.
it just slides right off. Yeah.
Holding the camera so still right now.
It is so annoying when it slides off. Even if it slides off a little bit, it's
Gonna leak.
Yeah, it's more likely to leak. It's just not nearly as good of a bond. So at this point, if you wait about 15 to 20 minutes from here, then it's strong enough for you to kind of like maneuver. So I'm not even going to touch this for about 15, 20 minutes. I mean, I just touched it with my finger.
Yeah.
Danger, playing with fire. After about 15, 20 minutes, you kind of touch it. But once you put the water pressure through, because the water pressure is like 55 PSI, you need to wait at least a couple hours. In fact, I might even just wait till tomorrow before I pressurize this pipe, because I want to make sure that that joint is as strong as humanly possible. So I got that joint is fresh. I got about 12 layers, 10 to 12 layers of Teflon tape in here to make sure that that doesn't leak. This one, we got an O-ring. So I made sure to tighten that all the way down to compress the O-ring. And then Irrigreen is now sticking 2 of these clamps on to make sure that the flex pipe doesn't slip off or leak here. So yeah, probably late tonight, late this evening, or tomorrow we'll pressurize it and then recalibrate the whole thing.
Yep.
It should be good. All right. Over it. Okay, go ahead. Everything looks pretty good. I know. I'm just waiting. I think we're good. Yeah, go ahead, turn it off. Can you tell? Can you tell I did it? You can tell that I've done something over here, but that's not the spot. That's where the Irrigreen is. That's where I fixed it. No matter how much you spend on something, you always got to maintain. So if there's a leak, you got to dig it up and fix the problem. Just because you got to dig into your grass doesn't mean it's going to look terrible. In fact, that's going to bounce back really quick. Like within a couple of days, you're barely even going to notice anything happen whatsoever to that area. Irrigreen is a very expensive system. I understand that. It's going to be out of the budget for most people. However, it's really just an upfront fee, and all of the maintenance on it is very minimal over time. Not to mention the fact that you're going to be spending a lot less money on water, or using a lot less water depending on where your water is coming from. So I do have a couple blog posts about Irrigreen and the costs of putting it in, linking to it down in the description below. Other videos on this channel about Irrigreen. I will have more coming out, but I don't want to sell you on the program. But if you are interested in learning about the cost of it, then go ahead and take a look at that blog post down below.